Hello and welcome to News at 10 on Rajya Sabha TV. I am Aishwarya Kapoor with you. Well, demonetization continues to be our top focus. Now, the Supreme Court has come down hard on the government for not doing enough to ease the people, the chaos and the problems that the people are facing. Now, this comes even as banks are to exchange old 500,000 rupee notes only of their respective customers today. This will be our big focus. That and much more in this bulletin. Let us begin with the headlines. Banks to exchange notes only for their own customers and senior citizens today. Finance Ministry warns the Jan Dhan account holders against allowing misuse of their bank accounts. Centre's first litmus test post demonetization announcement. Voting for bypolls to 4 Lok Sabha and 10 assembly seats today. "200 nations adopt a Marrakech Action Proclamation, reaffirm commitment to climate action under Paris Agreement, developed countries to mobilize $100 billion climate finance." And US President-elect Donald Trump names conservative loyalists to lead his national security and law enforcement teams. Retired Army Lieutenant Michael Flynn named the National Security Advisor. Well, the centre will face its first litmus test since the announcement to demonetize currencies as bypolls will be held to 4 Lok Sabha and 10 assembly seats today. Well, the vacant Lok Sabha seats are Lakhimpur in Assam, Shahadol in Madhya Pradesh and Cooch Behar and Tamluk in West Bengal. Well, voting will also be held for bypolls to 3 assembly seats in Tamil Nadu, 2 in Tripura and 1 each in Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, West Bengal and Puducherry. Well, the seat vacant in Assam are Betha Langso, Hayuliang in Arunachal Pradesh, Nepa Nagar in Madhya Pradesh, Montestor in West Bengal, Thiruparankundaram in Tamil Nadu, Barjala and Khowal in Tripura, and Nelithop in Puducherry. Now, voting will also take place in Aravakurichi and Thajambur in Tamil Nadu. Here, polling was cancelled in May due to violence of use of black money to influence voters. The counting will take place on 22nd of November. Now, while criticism rages over the implementation of the demonetization exercise, Prime Minister Narendra Modi called on President Pranab Mukherjee yesterday. Well, the meeting lasted for 45 minutes. Now, Rashtrapati Bhavan officials, however, did not divulge the issues that were discussed between them. However, the Prime Minister was believed to have briefed Mukherjee on the developments that have taken place in the aftermath of the launch of the demonetization drive. Well, the meeting came on a day when the proceedings in Parliament were also washed out for the second consecutive day, with the ruling side causing pandemonium in Rajya Sabha over certain remarks by Congress leader Ghulam Nabi Azad and the opposition creating ruckus over demonetization in Lok Sabha. Well, no business could be transacted either in Rajya Sabha or Lok Sabha due to the uproar, and both houses had to be adjourned for the day prematurely.
The standoff between the ruling party and the Congress intensified on Friday. The Treasury benches insisted on Leader of Opposition Ghulam Nabi Azad's apology for his remarks made in the upper house on Thursday. The ruling party members moved to the aisle and escalated the offensive against Azad. The government also accused the Congress of weakening the fight against black money.
इस आंदोलन को, एक बड़े इस मिशन को, जिसको इस देश के प्रधानमंत्री जो गरीबों, कमजोर तबकों, पिछड़ों के मसीहा हैं, जिन्होंने की कमजोरों के लिए ये लड़ाई छेड़ी है, और जो लोग इस भ्रष्टाचार और जो लोग दशकों से इस काले धन पर कुंडली मार के बैठे हुए हैं, उनमें बेचैनी स्वाभाविक है, लेकिन आपके अंदर ये बेचैनी है, ये अस्वीकार्य है। इसलिए ऑनरेबल लीडर ऑफ द अपोजिशन श्री गुलाम नबी आजाद साहब देश से माफी मांगे।
The Congress too upped the ante against Prime Minister Narendra Modi and accused him of causing hardship to the people with his decision. While demanding PM's apology, the Congress also demanded his presence in the upper house during discussion on the issue of demonetization. Meanwhile, the JDU slammed the ruling party for disrupting the proceedings of the House.
आपको सदस्य नहीं बात करने दे रहे, ये सब शांत हो गए। ये सारे
लोग जो है वो शांत नहीं हो रहे। आप जो है वो क्या, यानी ये सारे लोग शांत हैं। उपाध्यक्ष जी, ये सारे लोग शांत हैं। जो खेलती बेंच के लोग हैं वो सुनने नहीं दे रहे। आप सदन बंद करना चाह रहे हैं।
The chair sought to pacify the protesting members and made fervent appeals to allow the House to function. The impasse, however, persisted. Amid sharp verbal exchanges between the BJP and the Congress, zero hour and question hour were paralysed. Even in the post-lunch session, protests remained unabated. The chair then adjourned the House till Monday. With inputs from Vishal Dhaya, Kriti Mishra, Rajya Sabha TV.
Lok Sabha proceedings were adjourned for the second day in a row on Friday after the opposition continued with its demand to move an adjournment motion on the demonetization issue. Opposition leader of the Congress, Mallikarjun Kharge, demanded that the issue be discussed under Rule 56 and not under Rule 193 as proposed by the government.
रूल 56 में एडजर्नमेंट मोशन हमने आज भी दिया है।
तो मैं एडजर्नमेंट मोशन का दे दूंगी ना।
वो इम्पोर्टेंट है, और उस एडजर्नमेंट मोशन को आप सम्मति दें ताकि डिस्कशन चले।
While Speaker Sumitra Mahajan rejected several notices moved by opposition leaders for an adjournment motion, Parliamentary Affairs Minister Anand Kumar urged opposition not to run away from a debate.
All the opposition parties, that government of India is ready for discussion on this notebandi. We are ready for discussion, and if they want to start today afternoon, we are ready. If they want to start on Monday, we are ready. I am not understanding why they are obstructing.
The House was adjourned for an hour and later for the day after Congress, TMC and left party leaders protested in the well of the House. Ravindra Shoran's report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And in what will cause a further inconvenience to people, banks will not exchange the old 500 or 1000 rupee notes for other bank customers today. Senior citizens, however, will be allowed to make the one-time swap for rupees 2000. And on Sunday, again, banks will remain shut. But the decision was made keeping in view the pending work at banks, which needs to be finished.
1 week, our own customers have actually suffered. Their routine works have not been got done, and we have now seen some pendencies in our routine banking activities. So we have taken a view that for tomorrow, that is Saturday, the banks shall not be doing exchange over the counter, this 2000 rupees. We'll make an exception for senior citizens. But tomorrow we'll spend trying to update our works and do the works in relation to our own customers.
Meanwhile, in an attempt to dispel the rumours circulating around government's demonetization move, the Finance Ministry on Friday said that there was no move to seal bank lockers and that the news of ink of new 2000 rupee notes bleeding in some cases was also not true. Well, the ministry said that the notes had a safety feature called intaglio, a design that is incised or engraved into a material. It further added that the notes, when rubbed against a cloth, produced a turboelectric, due to which the note's ink gets transferred onto the cloth. The ministry also refuted reports that the new notes had chips installed in it for keeping a tab on black money hoarders, rubbishing the reports as imaginary and baseless. The ministry also rebutted the rumours that the government's demonetization move was only a cosmetic exercise, saying that the enforcement agencies were keeping a vigil and necessary changes have been made in Benami Transactions Act and in agreement of sharing information for curbing black money. The government, meanwhile, warned Jan Dhan account holders of facing prosecution if they allowed misuse of their bank accounts. It asked people not to be lured into conversion of black money and become a partner in the crime of converting black into white. Well, the directive of the Finance Ministry came against the backdrop of reports that some are using other people's bank accounts for deposits of scrapped old notes. Meanwhile, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley on Friday said that replacing 86% of the currency in circulation with the new bank notes could not have been executed in a better way than currently being implemented. Now, at a time when the united opposition has launched an all-out attack on the government over its demonetization move, the Supreme Court also posed tough questions on the sudden currency ban. Well, the top court warned the government of riots if the prevailing situation of chaos is not contained. For the common man, there is no respite, nor long queues persisted outside banks and ATMs for the 9th consecutive day since the demonetization move.
It's been 9 days since the government announced a blanket ban on 500 and 1,000 rupee notes. But the serpentine queues and chaotic scenes outside banks and ATMs continue. Banks and ATMs are still struggling to dispense cash to millions who queue up, with patience running out with each passing day. In view of the prevailing chaos, the Supreme Court on Friday warned the government that the situation was serious and could lead to riots in the country. Refusing the government's plea to stay cases filed against demonetization in high courts and other lower courts across the country, the apex court said the very fact that cases are being filed in courts all over is a signal that the problem is serious and of magnitude. People are going to the courts for relief, therefore we cannot shut our doors to the people. Chief Justice T.S. Thakur even questioned the Attorney General if there was a printing problem that has led to the massive cash crunch in banks. Though Attorney General Mukherjee denied any cash crunch, he did acknowledge there was trouble dispensing the newly printed currency from the mints to post offices, banks and ATMs all over the country. The Calcutta High Court also came down heavily on the government, citing loopholes in the implementation of the move. The Election Commission of India also questioned the government on the use of indelible ink in banks. The poll panel wrote to the Finance Ministry, asking them to keep in mind the upcoming by-polls in several states. Amidst all this, the common people continue to bear the brunt. Bank branches and cash vending machines are still struggling to manage the huge rush. The government's move to dispense cash at select petrol pumps also could not be implemented on Friday.
कई पेट्रोल पंप पे घूमे हैं मैडम, लेकिन जैसा हमने सुना था कि पेट्रोल पंप पे ये सुविधा मिल पाएगी कि एटीएम से आप डलवा सकते हो, लेकिन ऐसा तो कुछ नहीं हुआ। अब हमें वापस शायद बैंक वगैरह ही जाना पड़ेगा, एटीएम वगैरह ही जाना पड़ेगा, तो प्रॉब्लम तो हो ही रही है।
But to ease cash crunch, government yesterday announced that people can even dispense their cash through debit card by swapping their card at petrol pumps. But searching many of the petrol pumps here in Connaught Place, we find out that no such facility has yet been started. So the question here arises, people standing in queues at ATMs and banks will have to suffer for more days, or the government just made the announcement in a hurry.
Since the government's surprise move, sales in wholesale markets have plunged across the country, and daily wage workers are struggling to make a living. At various hospitals across the country, patients and their family members are facing inconvenience in buying medicines, food and availing transportation. Truckers are also reportedly stranded on highways as drivers have run out of valid currency notes, affecting movement of goods in several parts of the country. With inputs from Anu Diwan, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And with the directives on a note exchange changing almost on a daily basis, now banks are finding it difficult to keep up in many places. In many places, the new directives are not even reaching them in time, adding to more problems. Here is a ground report from our correspondent Akhilesh Suman from Falodi town in Rajasthan.
Villagers standing in line to exchange their old notes for new ones. Coming from far-off places, they are here in Falodi town in Jodhpur district since early morning. For many, it's been their second or even third fruitless visit for cash.
तनाव तो जनता का है सर, बाहर तो है ही, हम 8 घंटे की ड्यूटी हम 18 घंटे भी करनी पड़ रही है, क्या करें सर, वो तो है ही माहौल के हिसाब से सिचुएशन ऐसी है तो हमें काम करना पड़ेगा।
प्रॉब्लम है पैसे जमा करने की और पैसे एक्सचेंज करने की। अब 2-3 दिन हुए चक्कर काट रहे हैं, हम 10:30 बजे आते हैं और 4 बजे बैंक बंद कर दिया जाता है और उसके बाद में हमें बाहर निकाल दिया जाता है और 2-3 दिन हो गए हमारा कोई चेंज नहीं हुआ है। आज हम आए हैं सुबह 6 बजे से और ये लाइन पहले से 4 बजे से लगी हुई है
और यहाँ पे आता हूँ लगभग 4 बजे लाइन लग जाती है और 4 बजे लाइन लगने के बाद मेरा नंबर आता है तो 3:15 बजे यहाँ पे बैंक क्लोज कर दिया जाता है और 3:15 में क्लोज करने के बाद में 3 दिन से चक्कर काट रहा हूँ यहाँ पे और पैसे मिलते नहीं है।
The police have their hands full to maintain peace outside the banks.
लाइन में लोग अपने सबको जरूरत है पैसे की,
सभी अपने अपने चाहते हैं कि हमें पैसा मिले पर फिर भी कोशिश ये कर रहे हैं कि किसी को परेशानी न हो, आराम से लाइन में लग के पैसा मिल जाए.
Even the cash deposit and withdrawal forms are in short supply. Many end up paying 5 to 10 rupees extra for photocopying. Some are holding marriage cards in hand, but they are not sure if they will get the money.
5 रुपए फार्म के और आईडी प्रूफ कराना है और फोटोकॉपी कराना है, उसके भी 5 रुपए लेते हैं. बैंक से नहीं देते हैं. बैंक वाले जो आज भी आप आए हो तो आज ही दे रहे हैं, बाकी नहीं दे रहे हैं. अच्छा, ये प्रॉब्लम है.
भी एक बहुत अच्छा काम कर दिया कल मोदी जी ने कि जो भी किसी के घर में अगर कोई शादी है तो उनको अपना कार्ड दिखाने के बाद में, जो अपना आधार कार्ड दिखाने के बाद में 2.5 लाख रुपए कैश की व्यवस्था की जाए.
2.5 लाख में काम हो जाएगा आपका?
काम नहीं होता है लेकिन एक बार के लिए ठीक है.
The bank is using the indelible ink. Its software detects duplicate IDs as well. But the staff say they have no information about dispensing 2.5 lakh rupees for weddings.
परसों से शुरू कर दिया था हमने. अच्छा जी. इंक वहाँ जो गार्ड है वो सबको जो लाइन में जो खड़े होते हैं ना, उन सबके पहले इंक लगा देता है वो, और वो वहीं चेक कर लेता है कि इंक लगी हुई है कि नहीं लगी. नहीं, 100 के 2000 के सब नोट है हमारे पास. 500 के नोट अभी नहीं आए.
People seem bewildered with his sudden turn of events. No one is certain how long their plight is going to continue.
This type of situation was only visible at the time of elections, and that also for a day or two. But now this is a prevalent situation of every day for more than a week. No one knows how long this situation will prevail. Administration has stopped all other works of development and law order other than managing this crowd. Akhilesh Suman for Rajya Sabha Television with camera person Om Prakash in Falodi of Rajasthan.
News at 10. We'll take a very short break. We'll be back with more news. Stay with us.
Hello and welcome. I'm Amritanshu Rai and you're watching Law of the Land on Rajya Sabha TV.
Our society is very insensitive to adoption. It is discriminatory on the third.
5% of couples who have infertility need surrogacy to get pregnant.
Watch Law of the Land on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. Now, amid efforts to introduce high-speed trains, Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday said that the Indian Railways should transform with the change of the century and focus on new speeds, progress and new capacity, along with gaining financial strength. Now, addressing the inaugural session of the Rail Vikas Shivir at Surajkund near New Delhi via video conferencing, Prime Minister Modi said that the focus of his government's railway budgets has never been politics and that the government has worked towards functioning of the railways. He said this is a technology-driven century, so innovation is essential and therefore the railways has to be about both speed and progress. Prime Minister Modi stressed that the Indian Railways has to develop and be financially strong. He said this will benefit the country and particularly those who are working for the railways. He further added that his link with the railways is strong and that is all the more reason why he wants to transform the railways.
शताब्दी बदल चुकी है, रेल भी बदलनी चाहिए. 21वीं सदी के अनुकूल हमें नई रेल, नई व्यवस्था, नई गति, नया सामर्थ्य ये सब देना है. जब तक हम बदलेंगे नहीं, हम पूरे विश्व में जो बदलाव आ रहा है उसके न हम लाभार्थी बन पाएंगे, न हम कंट्रीब्यूटर बन पाएंगे.
And now an update on the appointment of judges. Well, the Supreme Court has not accepted the centre's stand of rejecting the 43 names recommended by the Apex Court Collegium for their appointment as judges of various high courts. Now, these same 43 names have now been sent back for reconsideration. The Apex Court has stated this after Attorney General Mukherjee reminded the bench about the statement made by him during the last hearing on Tuesday. Now, the centre had told the court that it has cleared only 34 names out of the 77 recommended by the collegium for appointment as judges in various high courts. The government has also apprised the Apex Court that no file with regard to the recommendations for appointment of judges was pending with it. The bench posted the matter for further hearing after the winter vacation.
नेशनल जुडिशियल अपॉइंटमेंट कमीशन बिल एक बनाया था, एक्ट बनाया था इन्होंने, जिसको सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बेंच ने रिजेक्ट कर दिया था। तो आज की डेट में जो जजेस के अपॉइंटमेंट का सिस्टम है, वो 5 जजेस जो कॉलेजियम के हैं वही डिसाइड करते हैं। तो यहाँ अगर उन्होंने वापस भेज दिया है तो इसका मतलब वही नाम रहेंगे, उन्हीं का अपॉइंटमेंट होगा।
Now news from Jammu and Kashmir, where another government primary school building was torched by unidentified miscreants on Friday night in Rigipora area of Kupwara in Jammu and Kashmir. Well, the top roof of the building was heavily damaged in the inferno. The policemen and fire tenders reached the spot and prevented the fire from spreading. Remember, more than 30 schools have been burned by unknown persons since 10th of September in the state. Now, Jammu and Kashmir High Court also stepped in by taking a suo motu cognizance of the matter. On 8th of November, the court had directed the state government to provide fire safety measures and adequate lighting around the schools. Well, a US report has claimed that Pakistan has developed an estimated stockpile of 130 to 140 warheads for delivery and converted some of its fighter jets, including F-16s, for delivering nukes. Now, Bulletin of atomic scientists in the latest report said that an analysis of a large number of commercial satellite images of Pakistan Army's garrisons and Air Force bases showed what appeared to be mobile launchers and underground facilities that might be related to nuclear forces. Well, the report said that Pakistan's stockpile was likely to increase further over the next 10 years as Pakistan was expanding its uranium enrichment facilities and delivery systems. Well, the scientists also noticed that unless India significantly expanded its arsenal or further built up its conventional forces, it was reasonable to expect that Pakistan's nuclear arsenal will not continue to grow indefinitely. And the UN Climate Summit in Marrakech, Morocco concluded on Friday, with all the participating member nations coming together to reaffirm their commitment to climate action under the Paris Agreement. Nearly 200 countries, including India, called for highest political commitment to combat the irreversible impact of climate change at the UN summit. Well, a key outcome was the acceptance for the Marrakech Action Proclamation, which outlined how the nations would now deliver on the targets that were agreed in Paris last year to limit the global warming to well below 2 degrees Celsius. Well, the US, India, China, collectively the 3 biggest carbon emitters, and other countries pledged to curb emissions under the deal by moving to renewable energy sources. In the document, rich nations also reaffirmed a goal of mobilizing $100 billion in climate finance by 2020 to help the developing nations. Now, remember, this was one of the key issues raised by developing nations, including India, as developed nations have so far given just 1/5 of the funds that are needed for adapting to climate change. Now, Environment Minister Anil Madhav Dave, who represented India at the summit, said that it managed to carry forward the momentum of the climate action gained in Paris. He added that India will move forward with its agenda of implementing the Paris Agreement and that almost 97% of the existing laws in India are supportive for such an action. Remember, the climate summit took place in the backdrop of world temperatures said to be the highest this year, beating last year's record.
The Marrakesh Conference marks an important inflection point in our commitment to bring together the whole international community to tackle one of the greatest challenges of our time. As we now turn towards implementation and action, we reiterate our resolve to inspire solidarity, hope and opportunity for current and future generations.
And US President-elect Donald Trump has named more conservative hardliners for key posts as he works to fill key positions in his administration. Well, Donald Trump picked 3 conservative loyalists to lead his national security and law enforcement teams on Friday. US Senator Jeff Sessions has been chosen for Attorney General, retired Army Lieutenant Michael Flynn as his national security advisor, and Representative Mike Pompeo as the director of the Central Intelligence Agency. Now, the 3 men are considered hardliners, close allies or both, and all 3 have been fierce critics of US President Barack Obama and the current US policy. Well, the choices come as Republican President-elect works to fill key positions in his administration, which he will take over from Obama on 20th of January next year. Now, the picks could also heighten concerns abroad that the Trump administration might carry out campaign promises of banning Muslims from entering the United States or imposing more severe restrictions on migrants from countries or regions with high level of militant Islamic activity such as Iraq and Syria.
It's great working with the President-elect. He is a man of action. We've got a great number of men and women of great qualifications come forward to serve this new administration, and I'm just humbled to be a part of it. Our agency teams have begun to arrive at agencies in Washington, D.C. this morning. We're beginning what we're very confident will be a smooth transition that will serve to move this country forward and make America great again.
More news from across the globe. Here is the World Wrap. Airstrikes and intense artillery fire have pounded the rebel-held east of the Syrian city of Aleppo for its fourth day running. The shelling has been reported to be the most intense in 2 years. Now, 13 people were reported killed in the province. The only pediatric hospital remaining in the besieged part of Aleppo has also been hit again. The United Nations says that East Aleppo faced a bleak moment with the low supplies and also winter approaching. British Supreme Court has said that the Scottish and Welsh governments will be allowed to intervene in the forthcoming legal battle over how Britain's exit from the European Union should be triggered. In what will be one of the most important court cases in British legal history, Prime Minister Theresa May's government is to appeal against a High Court ruling that Parliament must vote on triggering Brexit. The landmark case will start on 5th of December, but the decision will not be announced till early 2017. The Obama administration has introduced a ban on offshore oil drilling in the Arctic for at least 5 years. Now, the move is a significant victory for environmentalists who have campaigned for years against drilling in the ecologically fragile region. But the ban could be overturned by Donald Trump, who has previously pledged to increase offshore drilling. The mosquito-borne Zika virus will no longer be treated as an international medical emergency, the World Health Organization has declared. However, despite lifting its 9-month-old declaration, the WHO acknowledged that Zika is here to stay and that it would continue to work on the outbreak through a robust program. The infection has been linked to severe birth defects in almost 30 countries. On to cricket now. Well, England has resumed its first innings at the overnight score of 103 for 5 against India on the third day of the second test match in Visakhapatnam today. Now, well, India were in a commanding position on day 2 as they ended the first innings at 455 runs. Ashwin took 2 wickets, Mohammad Shami and Jay Yadav took 1 each. Now, barring Joe Root, who made 53 runs, none of the English batsmen stood their ground. R. Ashwin was the star for India as he scored a half-century and also picked up 2 wickets. For India, skipper Virat Kohli hit an impressive 167 in the company of another centurion Cheteshwar Pujara, who made 119, while a debutant Jayant Yadav contributed 35 to steer the team to a commendable score. And well, time to wrap up this edition of news. But today is the 99th birth anniversary of former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, and various political leaders, including Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Congress President Sonia Gandhi, paid tributes to the former Prime Minister. Now, born on 19th of November 1917, Indira Gandhi served as the Prime Minister from 1966 to 1997 and then again from 1980 until her assassination in 1984. We leave you with these visuals. Thanks for watching.